talking to Gabriela Lira about the biz and how real estate agents, as we're talking about land and buying, move around. I just wanted to get the answer to the question because I was asking her during the break. All right, so when you move between sometimes, real estate brokerage firms and house, as someone like you would be someone attractive to one of these employers simply because you've been at it for a while, you have the experience. Now, do you bring clientele with you necessarily? Or I don't mean clientele, but I mean you have a network of people where you know that people will be calling you for...
Yeah, so I have a book of business.
Okay, that's what I was...
So these are people that will use me as their real estate agent no matter what, because we've had great experiences working together in the past. And my book of business moves with me wherever I go. But yes, when you are a top agent in town, you have some leverage, and brokerages, they want you to come work for them.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm fascinated how it works. I've not done it, I won't do it, but I know people that have, and it's tough.
It's like moving between networks.
Exactly, yeah, I suppose so. Something like that. Yeah, it's a good example. All right, so what places in the Middle Tennessee area right now do you think, if someone came to you and said, look, I'm looking to buy a home, I want to be in obviously a safe neighborhood, maybe good schools, I'm looking, where's some of the areas where you might be able to find a reasonably affordable house now with these new interest rates?
It's all relative.
Okay.
What do you define as affordable? And if they're coming from California, affordability might mean one thing. If they've been a native Nashvilleian all their lives, affordability might mean another thing. And then what are your priorities? Do you want to be in the city? So if you're wanting to stay as close to the Nashville downtown area as possible, we're looking at places like North Nashville, Bordeaux, that are relatively affordable compared to Green Hills, the Nations, now even most areas of East Nashville. Okay. So that's where I would tell you that maybe we should focus our looking there. But if you say, you know what, I'm willing to go as far as an hour outside of Nashville, I'd say look at Springfield, look at Pleasant View, look at Greenbrier, down south, look at Columbia, Tennessee, Lewisburg, Chapel Hill, some of those areas.
Yeah, it depends if you are willing to make the commute if you work in the city. But yeah, there's some deals to be had. Even those areas have gotten more expensive. Is there a median price right now for the Nashville market? What is it about, or average? What do you want to go with here?
It's just over $400,000.
$400,000. Okay, which means, all right, that's the middle. There's a lot above that. To me, I think it's real hard to find anything under $300,000 in a lot of these neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
Is that tough?
Yes, it is very tough.
All right, now I'm wondering, that house I was telling you about that's being auctioned off online in Hermitage, it's 1,200 square feet. Yeah, I know you don't know anything about where, but I bet you that'll go for under 300, don't you?
Possibly. 1,200, that's fairly small.
Yeah, it's a small. Yeah, it would be a small for maybe a couple or one person or something like that. It's small.
Yeah.
But maybe, so I guess size of the house comes into play, location comes into play, all of that. But yeah, you said, so it's over 400,000.
Yeah. The average price point in the Middle Tennessee area is over 400,000. I want to say it's closer to 450.
You know why that scares people away sometimes?
Yeah.
That's so much money. Let's go to Jackie. Jackie, good morning. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, my question is, I have been bombarded with phone calls and emails about a reverse mortgage. Can you explain what that is?
Now, I don't know if you're very familiar. We've talked about that before on this show with one of our attorneys who deals with reverse mortgages. I don't know if you even deal with that.
That is not my area of expertise, the reverse mortgage. I understand the general concept of it. And, some more mature, older people might find that an appealing way to stay in their home for a while, but not super familiar with those.
Yeah, Jackie, I would just tell you, based on my conversations with Tim Takis, who I think is the best elder care attorney in the country, and he's been on this show and his staff, and you maybe have seen that before, that there are, in his opinion, a very small group of people, as she just said, that might benefit from a reverse mortgage. But in general, the sense I get from him is that there are better ways to go for your money moving forward that will allow you to stay in your home for a period of time than going with a reverse mortgage. There's nothing shady about them. There's nothing illegal about them. They're legit. But it's not for everyone. And my sense from him is it's only for maybe just a small, and you may fall into that group, where it really benefits them. Otherwise, there are better ways to go than a reverse mortgage. And I wish we had more time. That's a separate topic for you. But I would just say, look into it more before and check with some folks. And Tim Takis, Elder Care. But I get the sense it's more often than not for a smaller segment, not really for everyone. That's my takeaway from reverse mortgages. All right, I wanted to touch on this just in terms of the importance of staging. If you're selling, and you say for sellers it's kind of rough, you have to offer incentives. Do you help them with staging?
Yes.
And why is that a big deal? It's a real pain in the butt. You got to mow the lawn. You got to get these plants fixed. You got to go in. What?
So, as I said, in the past, people were just throwing houses on the market in the condition they were in. Some people weren't even cleaning them up because the market was so hot that someone would come in and want your house. But now the tables have turned and your house needs to look good. It needs to be what we call in the industry market ready. And this is because buyers are more likely to visualize themselves in the home if it's clean, if it smells good, if it looks beautiful. They are buying into an ideal of living in this home, whether they can afford that furniture or not.
Yeah.
So what we do is, if you are still living in the home, we bring in a professional designer stager that walks through your house with your own furniture and says, hey, I think we need to rearrange your furniture like this to make this room look more open. You have too much stuff. Let's declutter and depersonalize some of these areas. You need a little more color over here. Let's get some colorful throw pillows. But if you have completely vacated, if it's an empty home, then we hire stagers to bring in furniture and actually stage the main rooms of the house.
Yep. I'll tell you what, my wife's very good at this, I guess. When we staged our house, we ended up going and moving a lot of stuff. We went and bought a ton of stuff from Home Goods, staged it one weekend, and returned it all. There you go.
I like that.
It happens. So we didn't damage anything, and you're entitled. Well, we just said, that frame didn't work in our living room. And we
didn't like that color.
But we staged it, and it really makes an interesting tale. Another market that's very hot is Boise, Idaho. And this is something to keep in mind, too. By the way, if you're looking online and you see a house that hasn't been well staged, and you're like, oh, that looks yucky, still go look at it. My brother is now in a very nice neighborhood there, and for whatever reason, this elderly couple put it on the market, and I don't know if they just didn't have a good real estate agent. And you went online and looked at the photos they posted, and it looked drab and blah.
Yes.
Well, my brother was in the neighborhood for another house, and then decided, let's just go buy this house. It looks awful, but let's go look. And they looked, and they're like, wow, this for the price and where it was and what the house looked like. And then they went inside and they just realized, all we have to do is do some painting, open up the windows, and this is like every other house in this market.
Yeah.
And they got a steal because they did a lousy job staging it, and it had been in the market, because he was like, why has this been on the market for 6 months?
You get more money when you stage.
Oh, see, I was about to say, so there is some money involved in staging a home.
Absolutely, it sells
but
faster.
But it's worth it though, right?
It's totally worth it. It sells faster and for more money. Yesterday, I was out with some buyers, and we were seeing $3 million plus homes. We walked into one house, and the smell was awful. And I just could not believe that they wanted $3 million for a home that smelled so terrible.
Yep.
I thought, there's no way. This house, in my mind, already lost $500,000.
Yeah, will you check back and see? I mean, or could you have said, I mean, they're asking that much. They're not going to sell it for that.
No.
Unless it's, could you just come back and say, look, your house stinks. I'll buy it for $2.5 million.
Sure.
They may not take it, but it's just going to sit there. How on earth? What do you think the smell is from?
I have
Cats,
no
dogs,
idea.
Animals,
I'm very
something?
sensitive to smells to begin with.
Do you think the buyer knew?
Oh, the buyer looked at me because their agent was there. Because sometimes when you get into these higher price points,
agent selling it's there. Does he not know or she not know?
The agent has to accompany you.
So what, did you ask him later, what the hell's with the smell?
I did not ask him that, but when we were touring the house, my buyer looks at me and he goes, that smell.
Yeah. Okay, well, something like that's a blatant thing.
That is awful.
Because you're talking about, as opposed to, having something smell and be awful like that, you're just saying, make it look great.
Yes.
If you set it up and people can envision themselves living in it and they look at the house that nicely, staging makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and if you live there, it's hard.
Yeah.
You have pets, you have kids, you're cooking. But if you know you're going to have a showing, you know, open the windows up, air the place out, put some nice, not potent air fresheners out.
How about baking cookies?
Bake some cookies.
Make some bread. Listen, what do you think, too, about showings? That's the thing that sometimes rubs. You see online all the time, you know, all of these places that say, come to us, we'll sell your home, make it easy. That's the one thing. It's a headache. I think you don't get as much money for it, but you don't put up with the headache, I guess. But what about, instead of having separate showings, well, hey, we have someone who wants to come by tomorrow, having advertise the crud out of it, stage it, and say, send out invitations for one day on a Saturday?
I think that's great. I think that in the previous market, that would have worked beautifully.
Okay.
Now, in today's market, when it's taking longer to sell,
Gotcha.
one day might not cut it. So you are going to have to make a little more sacrifice now. And every possible time that you can show it, when someone requests to see it, show it. Because if they can't see it, they cannot buy it.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about? The various advertisements on TV where they will sell your home, you know, and you just go to them. Do you think more people are doing that to a degree because they don't want to put up with all of this? And when they do, what are they sacrificing by going to do it that way? They get the convenience, but they're maybe not getting as much money for the house?
That's right, and that's generally what it is.
And that's fine if that's
they're
where you're
buying it
going.
at a discount. And
Yeah.
if you're okay with that, that might be a solution that works for you. A lot of these people are big companies like Zillow and Redfin. They were doing this. Well, now they're doing massive layoffs because they were not doing a good job. They would come in, they'd buy your house for a certain amount, they'd turn around and put some money into it, some cosmetic fixes, and then try and flip it, is what they were trying to do.
Right.
And those homes were sitting on the market longer, even in a hot market, so they weren't making the revenue that they needed to, and they're having massive layoffs now.
Oh, is that right? Okay, so going that way, I'm just saying, depending on how you want to go about doing it, when we put ours on the market, you know, back when you said it was hot, we did it just one Saturday. Yeah. And it worked. I mean, my realtor said they were stunned at how many people showed up. We got 4 offers out of it, and a couple of them were over asking price. Again, this was right just on the cusp before it really exploded. Had we waited another year, we would have made $100,000 more on our house, I believe. But we would not have been able to build and buy the property on the house that we bought at the same time. We would have been completely priced out of it. So I have absolutely no regrets whatsoever.
Yes.
Timing's everything.
Timing is everything.
You know, and so moving forward, just as we wrap things up then, you're of the belief that what we're in right now is going to be something of a roller coaster back and forth. We're going to have, you know, a period of time where as they try to adjust and keep inflation under control, we'll be going up and down. But don't worry too much about that. Maybe go ahead and ask for 2-to-1 buy down if you're looking.
Absolutely.
So don't necessarily think, okay, I don't want to buy a house right now because of the interest rates. There is creative financing going on.
Yeah, and again, marry the house and date the rate, right?
Yeah.
Because you can do some creative financing to bring your interest rate down now and then refinance in the future. But as a buyer, I'd be all over it because guess what? You have more options now. Inventory is back to pre-pandemic levels.
Mm-hmm. Think about that. You know, I have a friend who sold his home at the peak, okay? Big money, and he didn't want to leave, but he just sold it. And he moved into a very affordable little apartment and put many of his possessions from his home into storage. Now he's sitting in the catbird seat. He's just going to wait a little bit longer, see where the market is, and with the money he made, be able to go buy another house for far less and have the money that he made.
Give him my number.
I'll tell you, I will. And it takes guts to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, your number's on the screen. Look. 440-6327.
Wonderful.
So, see, there. If he's watching, he can call you. All right. Gabrielle, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
We'll talk again soon, all right?
Yes.
I'll be right back with a programming note about tomorrow right after this.